Give you. Okay. So every blockchain is like a skyscraper, okay? So you add blocks, and it's like adding new floors to this building. But the foundations of this building, the columns of this building, is the on-chain protocols and the on-chain infrastructure. So if you really want to scale to 100 million users, then you better make sure that the foundations are well constructed. We've seen in the last years the development of new technologies, so-called second layer technologies, that have enormous potential to scale payments, from the first payment channels that allowed you to transfer maybe thousands of off-chain transactions between two parties that are online with a single settlement transaction on-chain, to payment channel networks, as we will see later, that enables to transfer value from two parties that are online in a network through a number of intermediate hoops. And now we have these new commit chain solutions. One of these is no-cost, that it can even enable even more scalability to billions of users maybe. And this could even be improved by creating commit chain services with multiple operators and a multi-sig of operators. So this is changing very fast. You also have side chains, you have shards. So there are many, many second layer solutions that now we can implement. But at RSK, what we've been focused is on building these columns, these foundations, so all these protocols can be implemented and they can work to scale to millions of users. So where did we learn about how to do this? From Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin has this motto that is don't trust, verify. And the meaning is very deep for me. It means that you should always be able to run a full node. It means that you not only validate your own transactions and the payments that are sent to you, and you prevent being cheated, but you are also verifying the rules of the system. So no one can alter those rules. Okay, this is like having your own elevator in the building. So no one can prevent you from entering this building. So from all these nice properties a public blockchain should have, like decentralized, censorship resistant, borderless, neutral, permissionless, immutable, I think this property of being publicly verifiable is the strongest. And you have to make sure that the foundations are built to sustain that. So the thing is that, of course, blockchains grow. And is that good or bad? Well, it depends on the foundations. Bitcoin is growing, Ethereum is growing, EOS is growing, RSK is growing. Okay? So is this sustainable in the future? So I will show just some numbers of how these blockchains are growing. So we first see that, for instance, let's say EOS has achieved a 270 gigabytes blockchain in almost the same time. I mean, almost the same size as Bitcoin, bigger than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin took 10 years to build this blockchain, and EOS is just 8 months old. So this says a lot about the sustainability of a project. Let's look at the blockchain growth. So EOS is growing at 30 gigabytes per month. Even Ethereum is growing at about 9, depending on the blockchain implementation, like 9 gigabytes per month. So that means that consumer laptops are no longer valid to become a full node or impose you to upgrade your computer too often. And so that's a real problem. Another metric that we use is the state size. So the state is the snapshot of the ledger that you need to move from one block to the other. You need to verify each block. And it's really very important that this database can be kept in RAM, or most of this database can be kept in RAM, because then you can access, while you process transactions, very easily you can get information about the accounts or the contracts or whatever. In the case of Ethereum, this database has grown to, let's say, 30 gigabytes, which means that every time you process a smart contract, then there are a lot of pieces of data that you have to fetch from the solid-state drive, which takes about 0.1 millisecond, a little less, and that it's a huge amount of I/O that would certainly put a bottleneck in your network. So maybe you knew cool blockchain that you are thinking about that is going very fast, building floors and floors, then maybe it will sometime collapse because it won't be publicly verifiable anymore. Okay, so it will be a new centralized financial system or whatever. It's not what we are looking for. So I have my own rule of thumb to evaluate blockchains. It's the 1% rule, which says that basically you should spend validating a blockchain about 1% of your resources in your computer. That means that to process a whole year of blockchain, then you would take about 3.6 days, okay? Which it's a lot, but that's my rule of thumb. So Bitcoin requires about 0.1%, so it's very, very conservative. RSK, it's in the middle, I think it's about 0.4 or 0.5%, but Ethereum is already over 2%, okay? So this is something I think is quite critical. In fact, 2 recent publications have stated that Ethereum is reaching its maximum I/O and CPU limits, like replaying transaction now takes many weeks of serial computation time, or synchronizing requires 4,200 sequential database reads per block on average. That's why Ethereum needs either to implement storage rent and parallel processing of transactions, or it has to throw away everything and move to Ethereum 2.0 because it just does not scale anymore. So what have we done in RSK to prevent this from happening, to build this foundation? We've innovated in the core level. So these are several things we innovated, when some of them are not from our team, but I will talk about the innovations we did. The Unitry, storage rent, hibernation, the Lumen transaction compression protocol, which was built specifically to help second layer solutions to be more efficient, and parallel transaction processing. So the first is the Unitry. The Unitry is a unified. I'm going to be a little bit technical here, but just a little bit. I'm going to go so much deeper. Yeah. So the Unitry is a unified data structure that stores contract information and account information in a single database, which is a binary trie. And it has many benefits compared with Ethereum or other blockchains, that some protocols get very simple to implement, like garbage collection, like a state synchronization from node to node. And also we store in each node the size of all the nodes that are behind it, so you can very easily, when you are synchronizing, detect how much information you still need to synchronize. Some other benefits is that we store the original key of the account, the original address, and the original key of the storage in the trie by translating the keys a little differently. So you don't need a separate database to store this key, so you can execute very interesting queries on this database, like the number of accounts, or you don't need to be a bigger full node and have a separate database. Also, all terminal nodes that are small enough are embedded in parent nodes. Okay, so that saves a lot of time. I think that in 1.0 release, where the Unitry is activated, there will be a savings of about 80% of the space. The next one is the Lumen transaction compression protocol. And as I said before, we envisioned a network where there are second layer payment solutions that have the corresponding smart contracts, and most of the user transactions that they perform are performed on these off-chain payments, and sometimes they perform like channel top-ups, channel settlements, and most of these transactions are repeated payments, okay, recurrent payments. So we created presets so that basically you can specify a lot of information about your transaction, and then you can just replay a transaction, use a preset, and then you compress your transaction. Also, LTCP does signature linking. So every time you perform a transaction, you can link that signature with the previous transactions on the same account. So basically, the synchronization protocol is able to throw all past signatures and just keep the last signature for every account. So that's a lot of compression. Signatures take about 80% of the transaction space. So that's, again, a lot of compression. And this is an instantiation of a shrinking chain framework we designed that enables compression of the blockchain after blocks have been mined. So to give an example, a recurring payment in RSK with LTCP would take about 8 bytes of blockchain data, while Bitcoin will take 380 bytes. So that's 47 times the compression. So that's the efficiency you can get and the scalability you can get from this. The next one is storage rent. And as I told you before, it's important to keep the state database small enough so it mostly fits in the RAM. So we added to this database timestamps so we can charge users not only for the amount of information that they are taking, but also for the time they are taking those storage slots, okay? So basically, we incentivize to keep that database as small as possible. And in the case that there is certain cells that are very, very old, like years old, then the database can just throw them away and clean itself, and then the user would need to provide that information back to this data structure in order to use it. So block processing turns out to take information from RAM, from the current block, from the solid-state drive, in a completely transparent way, but you pay differential prices depending on where this information is coming from. So we envision a network where most transactions are carried on these off-chain networks. And on-chain, there will be mostly savings accounts. So most payments would flow off-chain, and then you will just move funds from and to these solutions. Even if some solutions like Nocast would enable to have fully off-chain balances and never have an on-chain account, we still think that this technology have to mature, so we encourage people to have on-chain savings account instead of moving everything to an off-chain solution. So with this model, we evaluated the different platforms with the different second layer networks that are already active, and we came up with these numbers. We had to make a lot of assumptions about the usage patterns of users, like how many transactions they perform a day, or how many movements between savings account and payment channels between savings account and Nocast hub they would do. And we came up with these numbers. So these numbers indicate that we could scale with these technologies to 60 million users with RSK and the Reef Lumen payments, while other technologies are little less than that. For example, 7.5 million for Ethereum plus Raiden, and 3 million for Bitcoin plus Lightning. Okay, these are just assumptions we need to make. So we think that scalable architecture for payments starts with an on-chain layer that has all these features to be really, really lightweight. And then over that, we have the Lumino nodes, which are this payment channel network, Nocast nodes, full nodes, lightweight nodes, and over that, we are building the Reef Payments library, which is a library that allows you to access all these networks in a unified way with the same API. So you will be able to build your wallet and access all these networks, including the Lightning network, and from a unified interface. And so now, Gabriel is going to be making a big announcement about these developments of this second layer network. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thank you, Sergio. Big applause. Sergio. Is this working? Okay. So today, it's another very important moment in our lives for all the IOB team and community members around the world that have helped. After many years of building hopefully the strongest foundations of this skyscraper, as Sergio was explaining. Today we are ready to unveil the initial floor of the off-chain. So let's take a look. For those of you who are not familiar, yes. Okay. For those of you who are not familiar with the Lumen network, let me share some characteristics. It allows thousands of transactions per second, and it's available for a single token on top of the Bitcoin, on top of the RSK network. So, I think I'm going to talk with this, which works better. So it's available for every single token on top of the RSK network. It has almost instant confirmations and on-chain settlement on the RSK blockchain secure by the Bitcoin infrastructure. It is complementary to the Lightning Network, as we're going to explain in a second, and we expect the Lumen network to play a key role in fostering mass adoption of blockchain technology. So are you ready to see how it looks like? So this is the WebNode dashboard. As you can see here on the top, it's integrated with the Reef Name Service, or RNS. So you can either plug there your domain name or your address. It has a summary of the payments that you've done in the past and a summary of the payments history in the back, in the bottom. This is how you explore the different tokens that are available to open payment channels on the network. As of today, it's only available for Reef tokens, but we expect in the near future, when other tokens are also implemented on the Lumen network, to have multiple tokens to choose. And it would look something like this. So hopefully we're going to see stable coins and security tokens also available. Every single token that you launch on top of RSK, you can benefit from the off-chain payment benefits from the Reef Lumen network. This is how you open a channel. It's super easy to open a channel. In order to reach mass adoption, blockchain technology should be super easy, right? So this is how you click on the right, open a new channel. You can, again, use your RNS domain or just your address. You select the token on which you want to open the payment channel and the amount of collateral that you want to put on that payment channel. This is how the channel looks like once created. You can see the Adley's address, the Bob address, the Reef token in which the channel has been created, and the history. So very easy user interface. And we've also developed a public open source explorer, so you can take a look what's happening in the network. Over there, you have the address. We're going to show the addresses again where you can access all this information. You see the network and token summary on the left. You have the name of the token on which you're exploring, the different peers that are participating, and the activity feed on the bottom. You can select one specific node and see the public information of that specific node. And of course, you can search for new nodes using the Reef name service or just the address. So we're especially excited about the launch of the Reef Lumen network because of the use cases that will benefit from this technology. So this technology is ideal for loyalty use cases or other asset tokenizations of low value, which cannot afford on-chain fees. We also expect, with a combination of stable coins, that this could transform our financial system and enable microfinancial solutions that could serve the billions that are currently outside the system and currently unserved. And as I said before, if you think about this technology with thousands of transactions per second, combined with different kind of tokens, such as STOs or stable coins, then the sky is the limit of this skyscraper. Now, I would like to put now Lumino on the sense of a broader idea, which we call Reef Payments. So Reef Payments, it's an abstract layer that allows to interact with the Lumino network and other networks seamlessly for a user or a developer. So we're going to be working on the Reef Payments ecosystem and network in the next 12 months. And hopefully it'll allow the interoperability with the Lightning Network. This is what I said before. It's extremely important for us that the whole Reef Payment system allows seamless interaction between Lumino and Lightning. It would also allow cross-token transactions, which is going to be super exciting, cross-blockchain transactions, and as Diego was saying before, a unified library and for developers to be very easy to implement this on your wallets or exchanges or applications. So you can get started on this. These are the public addresses on where you can download the Lumino nodes and the Explorer. I would like to thank to the team that has been working so hard on this, the whole Reef team, the whole RSK and IOBs, and the global community from different parts of the world that has been collaborating on these joint efforts. And now I would like to pass the mic back to Diego, because Reef Payments is only one part of the global IOB roadmap. As every single year, we promise and we share with you what we're going to deliver next year here at Consensus. So Diego, can you please enlighten us on the other things that the IOB Labs team is going to be working on?
Thank you, Gabi. As I said before, we are setting the foundations for the financial system of the future. We are setting the foundations for a financial system that will be inclusive by nature, that will be able to serve not only those excluded today in our society, but also, you know, every one of us. And why this is possible is in part because of Reef Lumino payments, because it enables low transaction costs that are a fraction of a cent. It enables instant settlement from the user perspective. So you have a financial system that is highly efficient. And when you combine these with the fact that in blockchain you have no maintenance costs, you can open an account and leave it open without paying recurrent fees. You know, that's key for financial inclusion as well. And on top of that, our partners are bringing stable assets into RSK and Reef. So if you combine all that, you have the most efficient financial system of the world. A financial system that has no maintenance cost, a financial system that has transaction costs of a fraction of a cent, that can create reputational, you know, profiles and information so you can access financial services even if you don't have a collateral to put at place, a material collateral like house or payment bills. And also with the Reef libraries and interfaces, we are enabling this financial system to be used by any developer in the world. So that's what we are seeing, you know, being developed during this year. And maybe, Sergio, you can come with us because, you know, in the past years, we did commitments. Like we say, OK, next year we will come. We said last year that we will come with real use cases. We came here with real use cases. We came with one step more of the IOB vision. But also, I would like this year, more than make a new commitment, like ask a commitment from you. Because I think we are in the face of something that is unique, that is, you know, the opportunity of profiting, of building like very profitable business, and also impacting the world in a positive way. So we are at something that is unique in human history. It's like we can do businesses, we can improve our organizations, we can create this ecosystem. This ecosystem needs to be created by all of us together. But at the same time, we can create a better world. So I think this is the moment where that dichotomy between social impact and doing profitable businesses is gone away. And that's thanks to the technology we all are building. And when I say we all, it's like Bitcoin, Ethereum, ourselves. It's like we don't think this is, you know, one platform to rule them all. We think that we are all collectively building something completely unique that will transform the world for the good. So thank you. And I hope to see you more and do things together.